The one that's the trickiest is when someone appears to be like humble because they're smart, but they
Yeah.
actually lack in humility and they have hunger. So they'll work hard,
Mhm.
but if they're not truly humble, Patrick calls them the skillful politician. And this is the trickiest one because they do have some people skills. So
Hmm.
they can almost appear to be humble, but actually not be. And so this is the one Patrick would say can create the most um, friction on a team, can create the most issues. And this is the person that sometimes has a harder time admitting, you're right. That,
Yeah.
that I lacked in humility there. I shouldn't have handled it that way. That was not the right idea. Because they're lacking in humble, it's harder for them sometimes to see their deficiency in this area.
Yeah. And I've seen that on clients I've worked with where that's become a culture in the organization too. And it's really interesting, especially when you have a larger company that has multiple departments and you bring them all into one room and there's this strife between them because it's, well, our team's smarter than your team, this and this. And it's like, it's a weird, like nobody's humble. It's very much prideful of, we don't do anything right. Our team does it way better than what you have, and it kind of gets manipulative in a lot of ways of how things would show up with one particular client I did have work
Yeah.
with.
Skillful politicians can go unnoticed and like not called out for long periods of time, especially if they're high performers and they're getting
Mhm.
results. Because everyone's celebrating their victories and their wins, and that gets a lot of the attention. But there's a lot of like, there's a wake of destruction behind those people. A lot of times they can steamroll over people in the organization as they get the results. And so it does take leadership oftentimes to call it out and say, hey, you're doing great, you're getting results, but it's how you do the work with the people on your team that I'm concerned about. So we need to have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they can be kind of cruel and mean to others. But if the leadership just wants to celebrate the victories, then
They're doing great.
that's fine. But people will probably avoid working with those people and will sometimes leave because
Hmm.
they're like, I'm tired of being treated that way.
Yeah.
So
And I think I worked at a place like that for my short corporate route of life that I took a 3 year detour, I feel like. But it was a lot of what you just said, working there, and how many people would just leave because of that. And they had an extremely high turnover, and they always were, well, we don't quite understand why. Even when they would ask for feedback, why is everybody wanting to leave? And it was pretty much we all left for that same reason.
yeah, this will test leadership really, really well. Is you might have a high performer, they're the skillful politician, they're crushing it, but nobody's enjoying working with them.
Hmm.
And they have a wake of negativity that they leave behind them. And so, can the leadership see that, call it out, and not demonize the person, but let them know, hey, we love the results you're getting, but how you treat the people you work with to us is just as important as the results that you're getting. That'll be challenging sometimes for leadership to do that because we can so over celebrate their results that they're getting, that they're crushing their numbers, that we make that the top priority. But then the culture is going to suffer because of that. So can the leadership step up and handle that moment well? That'll be a real test oftentimes for leaders.